is the woman in the mirror?
So the woman in the mirror is Venus RAPS, born Vanessa Ndlovu, I guess a creative entrepreneur, because I'm a rapper, a singer, songwriter. I be directing, creative directing. Yeah, I do it all.
What's your favorite thing about the woman in the mirror?
My favorite thing about the woman in the mirror is her boldness and I'd say her courage to take up space in a world that doesn't necessarily want her to exist in her fullness.
What's your least favorite thing about the woman in the mirror?
My least favorite thing about the woman in the mirror? Venus. She's very sensitive. She is very stubborn as well. I think those two are like my least favorite.
What's the first thing the woman in the mirror does when she wakes up?
The first thing the woman in the mirror does when she wakes up is probably check her phone. Yeah, and then she'll pray. But yeah, those top two.
What's the number one driving force in the woman in the mirror's life? What is your North Star?
The number one driving force. I'd say Venus's driving force is really her. I'd say because she really struggles to kind of place anyone else at the forefront of her life. So anything that she does for herself, for her sanity, for her peace of mind, for her happiness, for her pleasure. So I'd say Venus's biggest love is Venus.
If the woman in the mirror could talk to any animal, what animal would it be and what's the first thing you would ask it?
I'd say a bird, probably a bird. The first question would be, how does it feel to be so free, to go anywhere, anytime, for no reason at all?
The woman in the mirror has just been offered a huge movie deal by Netflix about her life's journey. What's the name of the movie and who would you choose to play the woman in the mirror?
She definitely wanted to be named Venus RAPS or like Venus Unveiled or something corny like that. But I think the perfect person to play the woman in the mirror would be herself, because I don't think she has anyone yet in mind.
The woman in the mirror grew up in Newcastle, KZN. Tell us about what type of kid the woman in the mirror was.
Oh my days. She was very shy, a little bit misplaced as well, kind of misunderstood. I'd say sure of where she was going. So I think that's still her kind of driving force till this day, because she never really could understand who she was, but she understood exactly where she was going, and that's been really the gist of her life. But I'd say the kind of kid she was just a big dreamer. She thought she could do anything.
The woman in the mirror has had a lot of obstacles to overcome in her life to get to where she is right now. What are some things people can do to get themselves out of tough places in their lives?
Probably therapy, first thing, because when your mind is frazzled, you can't really move forward, and whatever movement you make might be kind of clouded by whatever it is you're feeling. So it's best to kind of sort through those feelings first. So I'd say therapy mostly, but also surround yourself with people who understand you, love you, create safe spaces for you, and make you feel seen.
What are the keys to writing the perfect verse for the woman in the mirror?
For the woman in the mirror, the keys to writing the perfect verse, probably it has to sound jiggy, it has to sound hard. There has to be some metaphors in there, some double entendres, triple entendres. One line has to feed into the next to kind of have like a cohesive story. So she really messes with the idea of having a full verse that kind of tells a story that from start to finish, I guess.
The woman in the mirror gets the opportunity to make her dream collaboration happen. Who is she getting in the studio to make this a reality?
She would probably do, this is tough, Nasty, LAKEY, Reese, and Rouge.
The woman in the mirror is gearing up to put out a new EP titled Superstar. Tell us 2 qualities every superstar needs to have without exception, and what's been her favorite moment in the creation process of the new project?
Okay, so first it's, I'd say, humility. Well, the woman in the mirror would say humility is the first quality, because you can't move through life and not know how to operate around people in general. And then the second one would have to be self-doubt, I guess. So like, you need to believe in yourself. And obviously you can't be a superstar if you don't think you deserve to be a superstar. And in terms of The EP, it's called Superstar, it's very pretty. But I think the Woman in the Mirror's favorite moment in creating this EP was because it was created during a writing camp, and every day was amazing, every single day. One moment that sticks out is probably because we have kind of like listening sessions at the end of each day. So those were really amazing, golden.
The Woman in the Mirror is obsessed with the color green. What does it symbolize to her?
So for the Woman in the Mirror, green symbolizes growth, fertility, money. You know how trees and grass, they just don't stop. So I think for Venus, it's the same thing. She put green on her hair and anywhere else she can to symbolize that throughout everything, throughout anything, she will continue growing. So she's essentially an evergreen.
If you could go back in time and speak to the 12-year-old version of yourself when you started rapping, what would you tell her?
Everything that you're seeing in your mind right now, it's going to come to fruition, and it's going to be even greater than you imagined, because the dreams you have in your mind right now are literally small fry in terms of what's still possible for you, and not even at your peak, baby. So keep going, keep doing it, you got this.
The Woman in the Mirror wakes up to a bank notification for 20 million rand, which was sent by the ANC for being an outstanding citizen. The only condition is that you can never rap or make music ever again for the rest of your life. Would you take the money or not, and why?
I'd say I have enough music made. That's fine. You go be a housewife, buy a farm. You know, well, for the Woman in the Mirror anyway. She'd, you know, get married, settle down, have children, maybe 1 and 3 dogs or some crazy shit like that. But I think for the Woman in the Mirror, she's come to a point where she loves music and she creates solely for the purpose of the fact that she loves creating. But there are some days where it just feels like pouring into a cup of holes, you know? So yeah, I think she'd be okay with an exit.
The Woman in the Mirror has just won an award. What award did she win, and who did she thank in her acceptance speech?
First of all, no debate, she probably won Lyricist of the Year. Secondly, she's definitely thanking her mom. Everyone who knows her knows that. Easily.
What advice does the Woman in the Mirror have for anyone trying to chase their dreams in this world?
I think the Woman in the Mirror would say you have to trust your dopeness. Because there's no other way. Sometimes it's not going to work out, sometimes it's going to be terrible. Sometimes you're going to be depressed and still have to do it, and you're going to be broke and still have to do it. You're going to be homeless and still have to do it. But the problem is that sometimes that messes with your head. You go, well then if I'm so dope, why can't I sustain myself with this thing that I love so much, right? So I guess the advice that the Woman in the Mirror would give is to keep going, trust your dopeness, because eventually something's got to give.
Has the Woman in the Mirror registered to vote in the national 2024 elections? And what would she change about South Africa if she was president for a year?
The Woman in the Mirror has definitely registered to vote. She doesn't know who she's voting for yet, but she has registered. And if she was president for a year, she would probably give artists grants, because artists struggle. Rent has to be paid, and children have to be fed for those who have children, and mothers have to be sent money, and this and that has to happen. And I can't forget the general upkeep of just like being an artist, because you have to look the part as well. So she'd probably give artists a certain type of grant. Everybody else can figure it out themselves.
If aliens were to land on Earth long after the human race is gone, and they stumbled upon a CD that had a song of yours as the intro, what song would you pick?
I think I would probably pick Umshini on Superstar. Yep, that's it.